The establishment needs to step in, and they are. They need to provide you with somebody who believes in everything and also, more importantly, nothing. Not one thing. Not one thing. Enter a woman who I believe is the establishment choice for the presidency. She does not serve, by her own admission, she does not serve only one ideology. She has worked for both Bush. I believe she worked for Obama. Let's play. And by the way, she recently told Bernie Sanders, she recently said, I don't want you to use the word oligarchy. I don't want you to use the word oligarchy because it doesn't resonate with the American people. Here's what that really means. Stop talking about this thing that exists that I work for. Stop speaking of this. Shh. Stop talking about this. You're giving away the game. You're giving away the game. She doesn't want anyone to have a word for the thing, this blob, that doesn't serve anyone except the financial interest of a small sliver of the population who write humorous pieces for a magazine in Boston. Now, she had a very close Senate race, this woman. She had a very close Senate race. Now, she had the edge in donations because the donations pour in, and we know where they come from. This is what happens. All of a sudden, someone from the intelligence community decides they actually have a passion for democratic civil engagement, and they want to be a congressman or a senator. They come from the intelligence community. They say, I'm sick of poisoning people at different embassies. I want to be in front of the camera. And they all of a sudden, this person starts to be very well funded. They start to show up out of nowhere. This bitch who no one knows about gives the speech when Donald Trump gives a State of the Union where whatever you think of Trump, he is killing. He's got a young black kid with brain cancer. He's like, you're the Secretary of Defense or whatever he did. It was killer. Now, this bitch out of nowhere is just like Barack Obama, by the way, plucked it, and Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, to be fair. I mean, he came out of what, Texas? He was, we knew his parents, but this guy just emerged. These people emerged. Now, he was the governor of Texas. He had won an election, but a lot of these people just emerge. So this woman, Elissa Slotkin, emerges from the depths of Langley, Virginia, from some basement under the CIA. We don't know who this woman is. She ran a very tight Senate race. She got a lot of funding and a lot of money. And all we know about her so far really is that she's here to promote bipartisanship. And she's against wokeness. And the Democratic Party's got to, with the woke, but don't speak about the oligarchy. She's not woke, but she doesn't want you to talk about the oligarchy. So now here she's from the CIA, and she's now emerged. She's now the senator, and it was a tight race, but she somehow, all of the money started coming in, and she had these high-profile endorsements. Here is one of her campaign ads, why she's running. Elissa Slotkin for the United States Senate. Go.
For me, Michigan is where it all started. No matter where I've gone in my life, no matter who I've met, nothing is more important to me than this place. My call to public service started on 9/11. It was my second day of grad school in New York City. And by the time the smoke cleared, I knew I wanted a career in public service, protecting my country. I was recruited by the CIA to be a Middle East analyst and sent overseas to do 3 tours in Iraq alongside our military. I came back to work in the White House under 2 presidents, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat. But no matter what crises I've lived through, nothing tested me more than when my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she didn't have health insurance. She had let it lapse after many years of being gouged by the insurance companies because she happened to have a pre-existing condition. It was like a grenade went off in our lives. I took a leave of absence, came home to Michigan, and the same week and the same month that we're desperately trying to get her life-saving care was the same week and the same month that we filled out the paperwork
And I killed my own mother. I killed my own mother to prevent her suffering. I looked at her and I put a pillow over her head and I killed my mother. Elissa Slotkin, everyone. She is sorry about her mother, but this is what we get. Of course you served under 2 presidents. You're a spook. So when you talk about the permanent government, you talk about it. This is how you're being sold, this woman who's showing up. It's how you were going to be sold. Pete Buttigieg, I'm gay, and I was the mayor of a town in Indiana that no one heard of, which was actually, the town Pete Buttigieg was the mayor of was probably just one of those, when you showed up to it, it was just cops stopped you and told you couldn't go further. It was like one of those alien movies where they just cordoned off the town, and there were borders, you couldn't get to it. It's like, what is a mayor? What? He's another one. They throw these people at you from like the bowels of the government. They're like, you're gay, your mother's dead, you're black. Everybody's got. So we have Elissa Slotkin. Now get up her quote about Bernie Sanders. I want to see that because she went at Bernie Sanders and said, I'd like you to stop using the term oligarchy. And Bernie Sanders actually responded to her and was basically like, hey, I think the American people are a lot smarter than you think they are, which she responded, oh, God, I hope they're not. God, I hope they're not. I hope they don't find out it was me to put the bombs in the elevator shafts. Elissa Slotkin, Democrat Michigan, was while recently discussing the Democrats' brand crisis. And now, by the way, why is she an expert in this? Why is this woman an expert in the Democrat brand crisis? Isn't it interesting that this woman who's very new to politics is an expert in the Democratic brand crisis? She knows everything about. Doesn't this feel odd? Her campaign's well-funded. She's out to work for 2 presidents. My call to serve started when the towers were smoking. My call to serve started at 9/11. I decided I want a career in public service, so I went into the Central Intelligence Agency. It's odd. I went into the CIA, and I worked in the White House under 2 presidents, and I realized that nothing really mattered, and that reality is what we make it. We create reality. My mother got diagnosed with cancer. Guess what? I don't even have a mother. Who gives a shit? Vote for me. I'm kind of fat. Because it doesn't, so here she goes. While recently discussing the brand crisis, I'm sorry I said fat, that was wrong. While recently discussing the brand crisis, told Politico, is Gavin Newsom still doing his podcast, by the way? I tried to get on, they said no. While recently discussing the Democrats' brand crisis, Elissa Slotkin told Politico that the party ought to avoid using the term oligarchy because it doesn't resonate outside coastal institutions, and suggested that the Democrats say kings instead. She wants them to say kings. Here's why she wants them to say kings, because it's fucking retarded. And if you say kings, you easily mean Donald Trump. Kings. If you say oligarchy, that means there's an entire class of people that are a problem. There's an entire network of people that are a problem. But if you say kings, you can isolate Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And I've criticized Elon Musk a bunch, and I will probably later on in this episode, but that's why she wants to use the word. And by the way, there's a meeting where that's decided, okay? She doesn't serve any political party. She serves a group of people who meet in the woods, and they tell her they have some food for her, and she goes there, and they say, listen to me, we're not doing oligarchy, we're saying kings. Then they might not even tell her the reason, but I'll tell you the reason. So we can hang all the problems on Trump and Musk. When Sanders talks about an oligarchy, it means there's systems that prop people up. There's a network of people. We don't like that. We don't want that. Just say the word kings. So this woman who, is a senator or wherever she's from here pops up. And they tried to do this with Buttigieg. He's the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and he was in Iraq. They always try. This is something that, and again, it's not the Democrats. The Republicans try to do this all the time. And it's not any political party. It has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with an establishment candidate that makes everybody feel comfortable. Mitt Romney, Bain Capital. Mormon Mitt Romney, who ran out there and was like, I am a billionaire's billionaire. I like money and money likes me, and daddy likes everybody getting their beak wet. That was the establishment candidate for the Republicans, Mitt Romney. There were other people in that primary. You don't remember any of them, but they always coalesce around a certain person. They wanted Ron DeSantis because he would have been more malleable, more controllable, but he was a goofball and it didn't work. He had the charisma of a shoe and he couldn't get in. So it didn't work, but they would have been a lot more comfortable with a guy like Ron DeSantis. Okay? The way a lot of this works is they're comfortable with two types of people. One, someone who they have a control file on, someone who's done illegal things that they know about and they can say, remember this? Yeah. Or they like people, if they don't have a control file on you, you are such a hollow shell of ambition that you simply are a careerist where advancement is your only thing. You will tear the flesh off someone's face with your teeth to get ahead. These are the two types of people they like.